I'm going to be recording this. So hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar with Simple Business. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that we'll be recording this webinar. My name is Diana and I'm the Business Development Director of London Underwriters. And before I pass the mic to her and her team, I would like to introduce Megan Neck. She's from she said that she's in Georgia, but she's the director of partnerships, relationships, and Simple Business, and she should be the one that will be talking about Simple Business in a few minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope your Tuesday is going well so far. So yes, as mentioned, I'm Megan Neck. I, oversee this partnership with London Underwriters today at Simply Business. Fantastic partner, great performance from you as the agents thus far. And, whether this is a refresher of who Simply Business is and our appetite, or if this is your first time joining to learn a little bit more about us. Hopefully you pick up some new nuggets today, and absolutely shout if you have any questions into the box on the left, because we will save time at the end for questions. I'm also joined, I have Ashley Adams on the line, who's with our insurance product team, who will be helping with the Q&A portion when we get there. Just a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. So who Simply Business is, we'll talk a bit about our products and our carriers on our panel. I can highlight for you our top 10 classes, and then I also have some specific production data on what you all are writing through London Underwriters. I will also highlight some features of our agent portal and the easy use through that online method, and then I will do a demo of that same portal. And as mentioned, we will save time for questions. Okay, continuing on forward. So starting with kind of who is Simply Business and why agents choose Simply Business. So our niche is small and micro business owners, especially startups, are very much welcome. On the right-hand side, you can see a few trade examples of different groups, not necessarily our top 10 classes, but just an overview of an example of our appetite. So we welcome, plenty of artisan contractors. We have a very broad general liability carrier panel, anything from handy persons, HVAC, painting, things along those lines. Home-based businesses are welcome, e-commerce, lifestyle services, so personal trainers, interior decorators, and then all the way to consulting classes and technology classes and things along those lines. Telling you a little bit more about our products within those trades that we have appetite for. So the top bullet is just reiterating our overall appetite is small to micro businesses, and what we define that as is businesses with fewer than 10 employees. Our maximum revenue for a customer is $5 million, and we don't have a maximum payroll cap just based on our whole carrier panel. We have appetite in all 51 jurisdictions, so all 50 states plus DC. And then broadly speaking, the products available are general liability, professional liability, inland marine, bots, and cyber is available via cross-sell. So you'll see a list of some carriers available through our panel. So I'll demo this a bit more. Sometimes it makes more sense just as you see it live, but we have a broad carrier panel. So the value prop to you as the agent is enter the quote information, very short journey, consolidated questions across all carriers, and then receive multiple quotes back in return, of course, dependent on product and state and trade appetite. So hopefully you see some familiar names here, one of which may look new to you. So I wanted to touch a bit more on that. Harborway Insurance. So this is this is our internal MGA. This is a carrier on our panel. So they're a wholly owned subsidiary of Simply Business, only available to agents through Simply Business. Harborway insurance policies are underwritten by Spinnaker Insurance and then reinsured by Munich Re. Harborway offers GL, an MPL endorsement, BOP, and inland marine. So in a very broad appetite, heavy in the contractor space, but outside of that as well, and really competitive premiums. So just wanted to highlight a name that you might not be familiar with, given the availability through Simply Business. Okay, so a bit more about our top classes and just the appetite scope. So we write over 500 NAICS classifications, primarily focusing on the contractor, professional service, freelance, and business service industries. And then on the right-hand side, you can see an example of our top 10 classes. So anything from handy person to painting to power pressure washing, general contractors are welcome as well, and then photography. So even with that GLPL for photography. And then specifically for London underwriters, I thought it would be more helpful too to see, what your counterparts are writing outside of just the broad Simply Business top 10 classes. So one thing to note is BOP is not available in the moment in Florida. BOP is through our Harborway insurance carrier. Stay tuned though, because I received word recently that this will be coming to Florida in the near future. So more to come as we work with Diana and team and that filing gets completed and we can get that to market for you guys. So couple things to highlight. Janitorial services seems to be the most frequently written. Average premium examples here for you. When you see quote rate, this is just indicating, of the submissions entered, how many received quotes in return, just based on our carrier panel. So those in the high 90s, we really have a lot of options to present. So, you taking the time to submit a quote with us will likely return a quote back. Every quote's bindable. So if you see it on screen, they're all bindable, same day, effective, automatic renewal, all of those highlights that we can talk about as well. And then conversion is just, the likely or the amount of those quotes that have been purchased by you as the agents. General contractor, an average premium on the higher end of that $3,000 all the way down to, landscaping services closer to $840 for an average premium. Okay, moving forward. Before we get into the demo, this is just a good placeholder slide, before I start clicking around in the portal live to show you a bit more about the policy management and the quote management highlights. So you can track all of your quotes and policies within your Simply Business agent account. You can update credit card details for your insureds, for those that are on a monthly payment plan. You can download policy documents from within this portal. And then of course you can kick off and start quoting additional products all from this page. And so with that, let's go ahead and I will shift gears. Okay. So rather than a slide, I'll show you live just some of the functionality. So on the left-hand side, track quotes. You can see, I ran a test example. Of course, they will accumulate here as you run additional quotes. There's a search functionality up on the top right, recently added, very helpful. So you can search by quote number or business name. It'll also track your expired quotes. On the left-hand side, you can see track policies. So this is where policy documents will be downloadable here on the left. And then if this is a monthly installment plan, you could update the credit card details for the customer here, or the customer could either update it within what's called their customer account, of which they will get access to create an account once the policy is bound. So, they can make service requests on their own, update payment details, things like that, without having to call you, or they can call you and you can help service on their behalf, of which we have a sales and service center available from 8 a.m. To 8 p.m. Eastern. And this phone number here is the dedicated phone number for London Underwriter agents. So it helps identify you when you call into our sales and service teams. Other things to note just on the top, don't want to miss the fact that there's a current live incentive that we have for you all. So it's a weekly prize giveaway. So if you bind a policy in a week, you're entered into a drawing to win a gift card. And then if you bind more than 4 policies through September 15th and November 14th, you'll be entered to win the grand prize, which is a pizza oven. I have one. I love it. So best of luck. And scrolling down, just another kickstart or where you would begin a quote. You could either, of course, use the appetite checker, search for a trade, start a quote that way, or we could go ahead and just jump on in. For today's demo, I'm going to do a general liability quote and take you guys through that journey. All right, so for demo purposes, going to just answer a few brief questions, anonymous business that I am creating on the fly. I am located in Georgia, so I'll go ahead and select Georgia for where the business is. And then it just asks a few questions initially about the business, location, business structure. I will enter in my information, but this is where you would be putting in the customer's information. So all of your agent details, they're all passed to us when you access us through LU1. So everything's sent on the back end, and that signs you in with no separate sign in. Sorry, I missed that part of the beginning. So where I started is where you will land after you've gone to LU1, signed in there to your account, accessed Simply Business. You would land on that dashboard page that I was demoing initially. Just wanted to point that out. Some answering some revenue, employee count, payroll related questions, of course, specific to each business. And then on this page, this is going to be some more specific underwriting related questions, just asking about operations of each business. So for today's purposes, my business does not do any of the items listed. And moving forward, last but not least, so this is just where you have the option to add in waiver of subrogation, additional insureds, primary non-contributory, TRIA coverage, and select the coverage start date. Let's say Megan's Lawn Care is the business name. Enter their address. And click Get Quotes. Okay, so you have multiple quotes returned. So a few things to point out on this screen for you. Right here in the top left, you have the option to change the liability limits. I'll leave them at 1 million for today. You can toggle overall just between looking at the prices on a monthly level or on a yearly level. So one thing to point out there, just the difference. You have another option to do that also once you select the carrier you want to continue with. There's also this download quote proposal button that will generate a PDF. I'll see if this opens for you guys. We'll give it a second to load. Okay, it doesn't look like it's going to display, but I don't want to disrupt the screen share. But essentially, it just generated a PDF document of everything you see on screen, each carrier, the price, the coverage options, so that you could either attach that to an email, send it to your customer, or maybe print it out if you're going to chat with them later. So just one feature to highlight. And then I'll scroll down and show you just a bit more about what was returned. So the first one is Harbor Way Insurance, lowest price, Hiscox, Frank Winston Crum, Clear Blue, and American Builders, ABIC. So for today's purposes, let's go ahead and continue with Harbor Way Insurance. Say we want to continue with that for purchase. So this is just the legal agreements page. So reviewing, fraud warnings, agreeing to electronic delivery of documents, things along that line. There's a cross-sell opportunity here for contractors' equipment and small tools, but let's say no thank you. You're just reconfirming on this step the payment option, so we'll just select monthly. And then this is where I can end the demo because, I would enter in test credit card information since I'm in a test environment. But really, this is the end of the journey. You would enter in the customer's credit card information. You would receive a screen confirming payment, confirming the policy number that's been generated, and then all documents are emailed out electronically following bind. So one would go to the customer, and then an email would go to you as the agent as well for access to those documents. And they would be available by going just back here to your homepage and checking for that policy that appears within that track policy grid as well.
Does the contractors program, this is a question from Robert, underwrite in the 5 boroughs in New York. I have a flat sum business that I'm looking to get a quote on.
Okay. Just triple checking too. I should have made. Has Ashley Adams joined from the
Yes.
Simply Business team? Cool.
Here.
Essentially, yes, we do have some contractors availability. It's limited within the 5 boroughs. It really comes down to, I think, zip code specific and the carrier appetite. So as far as the flat cement business, my suggestion would just be to submit it within the quote journey, entering in that specific business address and the trade. It will tell you right then and there if there's appetite for that.
Good. Nick came a little late. He's asking if we are, Simply Business, right? Any admitted companies?
Yes. So all of our products on our panel are all admitted. So that's an easy yes.
We have another question from Gabriela. An inland marine, the limit I believe is 25K. By any chance, there is an underwriter review and the possibility to get a higher amount?
So there's no follow-up, underwriter review process. So the limits that exist are those that are permitted by the specific carrier. So if it is the 25,000, then no higher amounts exist today.
We have another one. Why do the class code and the declaration are different from what is included in the quote?
The class codes and the declarations are different. Was that from the demo by chance, Evelyn? I'm not sure specifically, unless Ashley, you picked up on.
So I didn't see it, but my guess, so apologies everybody, I now can use my mic. I think it probably had something to do with I didn't see it, but if there would be a difference, it'd probably be the SB trade name selected versus what shows up on the policy details. So like the class name that a carrier may put on their policy documents, that would really be the only scenario you could see something different. Like, for example, if you're quoting a contractor, someone may, use one class code for it, but another panel member may use another class code for it, depending on what the trade is. That should be the only difference you'd see there. But even then, it's usually a pretty much in line class code name. So maybe if there's a little more context on that.
Thank you. Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me because our Simply Business trade names there, are proprietary wording, correct? And then it depends on the carrier. Cool.
Right, correct.
So Evelyn gave a little bit more context on that. So she said, for example, I included remodeling, but on the declaration, it came out as a carpentry exterior.
So I think the same response would still apply. So the carriers can determine when we build them out how they prefer to underwrite based on which class codes. So they provide that direction. That's how we build it. I am curious, what else? Was that just the primary trade? Just straight remodeling on that one? I'm not sure where the answers are coming in. Not seeing anything.
Okay. It's on the chat on the left, but I don't see it. She might be responding at the moment.
Yeah, my guess. So it really does depend on the panel member specifically, but generally when you see that, it's because, for example, if Harborway said, yep, we want to quote remodeling, we would use the exterior carpentry class code. That gets built in right into the requirements at the start when we build someone into the platform. Hopefully that helps explain that a bit.
Thank you. And then, okay, it looks like thank you, Evelyn. And then Ashley, just triple checking too on the contractor in the boroughs of New York. Was my answer sufficient on that one?
So I had to leave and come back. I heard zip codes, and then I didn't hear anything else. So quick high level view is we do have more limited options for New York, just as a whole, particularly in the boroughs. We do have a panel member who's open to it, but again, if it is a borough zip code, we do have a hard time placing contractors there. And then I think the trade I was just curious about too, something with like cement. That was the only other piece. Yeah, I didn't know if we would have a cement specific trade that comes to mind. So just a heads up that in itself might be a tricky one for us at least.
Thank you, Diana. I saw your note back to Ronnie. don't believe I see any other questions unless you've flagged any on your side.
No, I don't. Anybody? Does anybody have any other question? Well, I have a question for all of you. Who's going to start quoting now with Simply Business? And you better say me.
Everyone.
I'm going to call all of you personally. All right, we have Sally, we have Gabriela. Who else? Robert, Ronnie, Evelyn. Cool.
And Diana, I see one from Lynn May that came in about roofers companies.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ashley, just a quick, through ABIC, I know there's roofer appetite. They asked about Florida specifically. Fact check me on this, but I don't see Florida as an excluded state for ABIC. But is that correct for
I'll check
roofing
right now
appetite?
to make sure.
Okay.
While you guys are getting that one, Arles asked us about any commercial auto market for contractors. As of today, we only have a few markets for commercial auto, but they're not available in every single state, and they're not monoline. One of them is Pine Insurance, and the other one is 3. But it very depends. We're not super big about commercial auto, guys, just FYI. So it would just have those 2 pretty much. Maybe next year we might have, but not with Simply Business as of today, and not many other options with the London underwriters, okay? We have Randall. I sent a quote Friday to London underwriters for Champy Plaza. Randall, you can also send me an email with that. This is a webinar. Is this for Simply Business or something else? You can send me an email with the quote, and I'll find out for you. If it's Simply Business, you have them here. If it's something else, you have me. I'll help you out, okay? Does anybody have any other questions for Simply Business? All right, I think we're a little bit over time. I will finish by saying thank you so much, Simply Business team, for making this possible. We really enjoy making these webinars so all the agents know what to do with you guys. And thank you all of you for joining us today. If anybody else have any other questions related to Simply Business or London, please, you have my email here in the chat. Send me an email and I will be more than happy to help. And see you next time. Thank Megan. Thank everyone. Thank you for making this possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye, team. Bye, everyone.